Hi folks, this is Cliff Macklin back with you. I wanted to continue my discussion of character development, leadership, success, happiness, and freedom. My last video I talked about my parents and my ethnicity, some influences on my educational development, some fundamental influences on my ideas about what it meant to work hard, to develop myself in the best way I possibly could when I was a young person, and trying to figure out where that would place me fitting into American society with all the different interesting cross currents we have determining who's valuable and who's not valuable, who's making a contribution, who's not making a contribution. I wanted to share with you an experience that I had that I like to call my midlife crisis at age 25. Now, most of you who may be watching this are probably at least over 21 years of age, and undoubtedly you've heard the expression midlife crisis. Now, normally that refers to the time in a person's life, usually sometime after age 30, 35 for women a lot of times, or 40 for men, but it's where we begin to question what our lives are all about and whether we've chosen the right path and what our priorities are and whether we've chosen the right priorities. In fact, there's an expression I've heard recently that I really thought was great, and that is, it's a terrible thing to get to a point in your life where you've been climbing the ladder of success only to find that your ladder has been leaning against the wrong building. Now, when I was 25, I was an infantry platoon leader in Vietnam. I had been in Vietnam for about 4 or 5 months when I was wounded on Christmas Eve 1969, about 8 o'clock in the morning. And my wounds were serious enough that over the period of the next several years, well, frankly, during the time I was in the hospital almost 2 years, my doctors told me that if I stayed in the wheelchair as a cardiac invalid, I might live for 5 years, and if I tried to live a normal life, I'd be dead in 2. Well, I made the decision that I was not going to live as a cardiac invalid, and I was going to get out of the hospital as quickly as possible. I was going to return to school. I knew I wanted to do a business degree, and I already had an undergrad degree in history and political science, but I wanted to do a business degree in accounting and probably go on to get a master's, which is what I subsequently did. But I want to tell you what was most important about my having been wounded on Christmas Eve. I went through a process was trying to figure out, well, if I live, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? What were my priorities going to be? And I had decided that I wanted to take a different direction for my life than I had up to that point. Sometime in the future videos, I'll probably go into some more detail about those things. But here's what I want you to take as the takeaway for this. Don't waste time. Don't waste time. Do not waste time. That is the one thing, that is the one asset we have we never get more of. In fact, you might almost think of it as being a credit card. We use it up, there's no paying it back. There's no paying it down. We have less and less time. So I went through a process of actually trying to figure out what my life priorities were going to be for whatever time that I had to live. I wrote my own epitaph, and what I decided what my priorities were, and that is that every day, and this is very important because I was expecting that I might die at any time, and so I made the realization that I had to live every day as though it was a complete life. Now, in some ways it was easy because when you're a combat veteran, particularly infantry combat veteran, those of you who've been in subsequent wars like the Iraq War or the Afghanistan War know that if you live through the next 24 hours, you are blessed. If you come through the next 24 hours and you have all your body parts and your brain is still intact and your emotions are still intact, you've lived a complete life. So you learn at a very early age how precious time, how precious life is. The important thing is, do not waste time. Don't waste time on activities that are not going to move your life forward. Don't waste time on people who are not going to move your life forward. That's a very harsh thing to say, I know, because sometimes it means that there are going to be people who have been close to you in the past, maybe even family members, who frankly are a waste of time. And you have to make that decision for yourself. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. There are times where I've made that decision, and I don't regret having made the decision in the sense that it's been good for my life. The fact of the matter is, whenever we have to make the decision to leave someone on the side or leave someone behind us who we feel an emotional attachment to. It's a difficult thing to do, but you have to decide what your priorities are. I decided I wanted to live my life in a way that was going to benefit other people. I decided I wanted to live my life in a way that was going to make me physically strong, mentally strong, and creatively strong. Those were the decisions I made out of my midlife crisis. I hope you're able to go through the same process with the same beneficial results that I have been able to make. Okay? You folks take care now. I'll be back to you probably in a few days with another video. You take care. Bye-bye.